everyone, I am Jessica from BSN1 of Canosa College, and I made this video to raise awareness about study addiction or workaholism in students. Let's get on with the video in 3, 2, 1. Let's begin with what workaholism is. Workaholism is a behavioral addiction where a certain activity, rather than a substance, makes a person experience euphoria. In our case, it is studying. Workaholism tends to trap people in the world of their academic work. This is often mistaken as hard work. And if it is left untreated, there is a high possibility that it will have a serious impact on the person's holistic health or its physical, emotional, social, spiritual, and mental health. Now, what are the symptoms of study addiction? Number 1 is when the student is in need to accomplish increasing amount of work in order for them to experience the same level of excitement. Number 2 is when the students feels restless or irritable when they try to cut back from work. Number 3 is when the students have made several failed attempts to reduce their academic workload. Number 4 is when the students are preoccupied with their academic works and often accomplishes them when feeling distressed. Fifth symptom is when the students have jeopardized or have threatened their relationship with other people because of their academic stress. And lastly is when the work being completed cannot be explained by manic episodes such as those that has bipolar disorder. If at least 4 of those mentioned symptoms are observed in a student over a 12-month period, there is a high possibility that the student is suffering from study addiction or workaholism. Now, let us find out what are the possible causes of study addiction. 1 is a cycle of physiological events. This is when the brain repeatedly releases 4 neurotransmitters over a period of time, and that when the brain reaches a point of tolerance, certain doses or larger doses are needed for the student to feel the same euphoric high. Second is when studying has become a coping mechanism for the student. This happens when the student feels like the stress won't go away and that they need to distract themselves, and thus finding a haven in studying. Third reason is when the student came from a stressful environment wherein their schoolworks are the only sense of control and validation that they receive. And lastly is when a student is an overachiever. Overachiever are those people who do great things but still feels the need to accomplish more things and thus eventually overworking themselves. Now, what happens when students become workaholics? Number 1 is that they tend to have a sense of urgency in receiving praise for their accomplished work. Second is that they care less about their work and more on the validation and sense of self-worth given to them by the people who gives them positive feedback, such as their parents, teachers, or any significant persons in their lives. And lastly, when introverted students become workaholics, their schoolworks or projects have become their social outlet, while extroverted ones are still able to maintain their active school life. However, the definition of their socialization will be comprised of study groups or any school-related activities. Now, after discussing the symptoms and its effect to students, let us now move on to the treatments of workaholism. First is by motivational therapy. This is a form of therapy which allows the patients to assess their strengths and use them to treat the insecurities that they think they have. Second treatment is by cognitive behavioral therapy. This is a form of psychotherapy where it allows the patients to reassess how they approach and how they think about situations, while also maintaining productivity and gaining a sense of validation and self-worth at the same time. The third one is person-centered therapy. This allows the patient to take control and lead the discussions surrounding their treatment. This will also help them to find ways to cope and work through the underlying causes of their addiction. And the last treatment that we have is the family involvement therapy. Parents must know the nature of the student's addiction, and the goal of this therapy is to rehabilitate the students. This is done through a combination of psychoeducational consultation and periodic family therapy sessions. And now for the last part of this video, why I chose this topic. The reason why I chose this is to raise awareness to everyone, not just students and their parents, about workaholism. We must remember that without proper intervention and support, addictions may lead to self-destructive outcomes. Hence, making it important for everyone to know if a person is already suffering from study addiction. And that's it for today's video. I would like you guys to always remember that it is better to be aware than to be ignorant. Again, I am Jessica, and I'll be seeing you guys in my next video. Bye!